Hey everyone, this is Kieran from Eccentric Physio, and today's exercise is looking at single leg balance. Single leg balance can be done in many ways. It just depends on what your focus is. Today's focus is the thoracic spine contribution to that balance. So if you feel like you've been needing to rehab your thoracic spine into more upright positions where you're standing, then this is a great exercise for you. What we're thinking about with this single leg balance is that, you know, the expression of all the parts is that I can balance on one leg. And if you visualize like a pie chart and you've got all those different wedges contributing to that circle, that hole, you got to think about, well, maybe some of these parts are going to contribute different percentages. If we think about it in terms of mass, my pelvis has a certain amount of mass, my head has a certain amount of mass, and my thoracic cage, my rib cage, my thoracic spine have a certain amount of mass. So I have to be able to control this mass as it moves around. Now, if we're in an overly flexed position through the thoracic spine or an overly extended position, what happens is I'm not able to access as much sideways movement as if I were more in the middle. So for example, if I extend fully, this is as much side flexion as I can do. If I flex, this is as much side flexion as I can do. If I stand in the middle, this is as much side flexion as I can do. So you can see there's a big change in the range. And what that has to do with is kind of the overlap that happens inside these muscles. It's kind of like Velcro, that as more things overlap inside the muscle, there's a little bit more strength and security. But then the other visual would be that, you know, if you ever played those, if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe look it up on YouTube or something. But those little maze games that had a little ball bearing in it, and you had to kind of shift around so that that ball could go down certain avenues or certain alleys of the maze. And so what we're saying is that we have to get into a certain position so that we can then go left or right the most. Otherwise, you're going to hit dead ends or corners. Yeah? It's not bad to be able to go there. You need to have those ranges too. But to control the mass, we need to be in a position that allows us more range, so we've got more room for error and we can kind of bounce in and out. So, a lot of preamble. Basically, can you be in an upright position? Can you be as tall as you can and as wide as you can? So tall, thinking about my head trying to touch the sky, and as wide as I can. My ribs though are down, right? Tall doesn't mean extension. Tall doesn't mean this. I'm not pushing my rib cage forward, that's extension. I'm talking about tall, okay? Ribs are down, tall as I can, chest wide, I'm reaching, I'm trying to be as wide as I can. And I'm gonna keep those cues and then lift my foot off the ground and see if I can keep my balance, okay? Now for someone that's had some thoracic issues, what you're gonna feel is that it's harder to control this ribs down and tall position through the thoracic spine. This area will be harder to control, right? You'll be doing some of this stuff, you'll be doing some of that or some of that. You might go this way, you might go that way, you might go forward, you might go back, okay? For someone that's had more of a hip injury or an ankle injury, it's going to be happening more down in there, or it might be happening in here. Just get that tall cue, be nice and wide, okay? When you feel like that's pretty easy, you can add a weight to add some challenge. Now, if the weight's on the same side leg, that for most people is going to be assistive, it's going to help. And it's just helping sort of create a nice scale of evenness between, say, the weight in my hand and the weight of my body, okay? If I come over to the other leg, now the stabilizing muscles are gonna have to work a lot harder to keep me upright. There's a longer lever arm, okay? I can bring that weight up to here, so it's a little more thoracic biased. And you can see that's a little bit harder for me. Whereas if I come over onto my right leg, which is my side that I haven't had some football injuries on, this is a lot easier. I can stay upright. Whereas I come into here and I add that challenge, and it's a lot harder for me, right? I have to think a lot harder. I have to focus on something with my eyes, and I have to be nice and upright. Ribs are down, and I'm still trying to find some sense of ease of breath, okay? So, nice easy exercise in terms of the equipment required. Execution is a little bit harder, there's some finer details, but work on it, you won't regret it, and single leg balance is a very important capacity to have because that's how we move. If you like this video, then please hit like below. Otherwise, to check out more of our content in the future, you can subscribe to our channel by clicking our logo over here. And to check out our latest video, click up here.